let's look at the moon next. The moon is in Cancer in this chart. Now, the moon's favorite sign is Cancer. I really like to use the image of the river for the moon. And when the moon is in Cancer, I want you to consider a river that is very powerful, that has no obstructions, no rocks, no sandbars, just flowing. It's powerful enough that it can sometimes go over its banks a little bit, but it is always moving. When you have the moon in Cancer, you are likely extremely intuitive. You're likely very, very sensitive. A lot of people with the moon in Cancer cry easily when they need to, when it happens, when they become sad, or when something hits them. Moon in Cancer people also are very good generally with children. I happen to know someone with the moon in Cancer who works with children, and she is exceptional at it. She seems to know exactly what is happening with them. She uses her intuition in that regard very, very well. But that moon in Cancer sensitivity can also be a drawback, because if the moon in Cancer person allows that moon to run amok, then they can spend a lot of time dealing with emotions that are not necessarily important at that time to deal with. Or they may feel that someone is angry with them because they don't call them. They may make assumptions about how other people feel about them that aren't necessarily true. They might feel easily ignored or easily brushed off. There are lots of different things that could happen, but there could be too much emotion easily with the moon in Cancer. As we look at where it's placed, we notice that it's placed in the 8th house. The 8th house is the helping, healing house. If Taylor Swift had decided not to do music, she likely would have wanted to do something in one of the caring professions. Again, she's very, very sensitive. The 8th house is about helping and healing, but it's also about the unconscious mind. It's also about things like therapy and dealing with very deep emotions from our childhood, from our past. And so I could have definitely seen her consider other careers, including potentially a therapist. But this can be a challenge to work with, again, because it's so incredibly sensitive. In the past, we've talked about the moon and how in our lives we have to go from moon to sun. Taylor Swift as a child might have been much more shy than she is now. And you're thinking, oh, well, most kids are shy and they become adults and they become less so. True. But with the moon in Cancer, I could see a very shy child here. Again, growing into that sun in Sagittarius in the 1st house, there would be a lot of work to do with public presence and feeling, understanding what it's like to be the center of attention. And I'm sure she went through quite a few of those times during her life. But so far, I want you to look at something here. We've got 3 planets that are what we call astrologically in rulership. In other words, they are extremely powerful. They are in a sign that the planet rules. When we talk about having a great astrological hand, 30% of our planets so far that we've seen have been in rulership. This makes for an extremely powerful person. Again, we've got Mars in Scorpio, we've got Pluto in Scorpio, and now we're adding the moon in Cancer to it. Okay, so again, a small aside, but let's keep in mind that if you have a lot of powerful planets, you are well poised for the level of success that Taylor Swift has had. Now, as I've said before, you can have all these great planets and still not achieve what you want to achieve if you do not use the energy properly. If you're not living your chart at the appropriate level, you won't get there. Thankfully for us, Taylor Swift appears to be doing that. So she's become very successful and she's worked for it.